Welcome back to an welcome back to another video, guys. Today we're talking about more controversies. I'm sure you're tired of this by now. But apologies, but I need to defend myself and clear my name here, and I haven't done that in a clear and concise way yet, so I need to do that. So today I'm going to be defending myself from a bunch of slander that's been hurled at me by the council, which is a governing body, basically the governing body of Soulforge. It's corrupt. There's next to no accountability. The only accountability there is between each other. And whenever a conservative speaks on his beliefs and won't back down, there's not much hope for that man because the council is a bunch of liberals. And as a result, it is my opinion that the council has not nearly enough restraints put on them. They have far too much power, and they don't have to answer for basically anything. That's my issue with the council. But I'll talk a lot more about that in another video. For now, suffice to say, they have slandered me a lot. So I'm going to get into it. We're going to talk about all these different slanders. There are plenty of things here that there's like a bunch of slander already that I have screenshots of. And then there's a bunch that I don't even have screenshots of, and I can't even prove they said this. But I'm still going to talk about it, I guess. So let's start off with who should I start off? There's plenty of slander that's been thrown at me by like plenty of guys. You know what? I'm gonna start with yeah. Let's just start with the screenshots. So first up, we got this screenshot of Sweeney basically there's three different accusations, two of which are slander. Basically, he calls me homophobic, he says I discriminate, and he accuses me of defending a racist guy. Now, on an incredibly bad interpretation, two of these are correct, and on a really, really bad interpretation, three of these are correct, but all of them are wrong. But firstly, let's talk about defending the racist guy. This is the guy that got me in, and he said some bad stuff. And I stood with him until I learned that he had said bad stuff, and I was like, oh, never mind. I'm not on your side anymore. You said stuff that... So I cannot, in good conscience, be on your side anymore. And that was that. Only defended him until I learned what he had done. And it was because he had gotten me into the server. So this is literally just him attempting to make me feel bad, or just attempting to make me look worse, I guess. I don't know why DeSweeney did this. It's really weird. But anyways, right there, DeSweeney, that's your first slander. Let's go on to the next one. So he says I discriminate. Now, I suppose by some interpretations I do discriminate, since I believe some beliefs to be wrong and others to be right. Which I suppose technically by that margin, everyone's a discriminator because, like it or not, you do this. You actually do this. I don't care what you say. You do this. Do you think that Hitler killing 6 million Jews was a good thing? If you don't, then congratulations. You discriminate against Hitler's beliefs that all Jews need to be killed. So congratulations, you discriminator. As you can see, discrimination between beliefs is a good thing. Anyways, and even if you do agree, which in that case you're an insane person, but even if you do agree, you still discriminate between beliefs because you believe everyone who believes otherwise to be wrong. Therefore, there's no way out of it. You have an opinion on this belief. Therefore, you discriminate between beliefs. Therefore, by that margin, everyone discriminates. And I'm pretty sure I have screenshots of this somewhere, but I was actually given 40 points for discrimination because I said that my beliefs are right and then provided evidence for my beliefs. And it's like, oh, you insulted all other beliefs and such, blah blah blah. Like, I didn't go out of my way to insult any beliefs. I just said mine's right. So that's already incorrect. but the idea is like I insult all beliefs, therefore I discriminate. But if we look at the actual rules, I didn't even break the discrimination rule because It's discrimination against individuals and groups, which I did not do. That's like what discrimination. That's what discrimination means. You just like discrimination is a bad thing whenever you discriminate between people and groups based on things they can't control, or based on beliefs, or based on like gender and such. That's whenever it's a bad thing. And Colton, I've got to have screenshots of this. I was given 40 points eventually for discrimination by Colton and the council, and it was so weird. They linked a quote where I said I discriminate between beliefs, which, if you think of it, like, it makes sense that I got punished if you think about it for less than 1 millisecond. Because the moment you look at that, if you have even 3 brain cells, you'd realize that this is a good thing. But, as I've said before, well, I don't know if I actually said this before, but it is my opinion that the Soulforge Council has a collective brain cell, only 1 brain cell. So sadly, they don't possess the 3 brain cells needed. They don't possess the 3 brain cells needed in order to think this, which is tragic. Truly tragic. They cannot comprehend a simple phrase. Anyways, moving on from the council's collective 1 brain cell. Like, whenever they get out of council, they gain some of their brain cells back. But as a group, they just lose all of their brain cells, it seems. Anyways, sorry there. I had to. My nose is getting stuffy. Anyways, I have been treating people fairly and based on how they treat me, not on based on their beliefs during this season. And I know that everyone who's interacted with me knows this. Like, I haven't been discriminating. I haven't been doing this. I haven't been breaking this rule here, okay? And DeSweeney knows this. DeSweeney is just trying. I don't know. I really think that at the end of the day, they were just trying to get me to be punished for just saying my beliefs were correct. Because they get mad at me whenever I provide evidence for my beliefs, and whenever I state facts, and whenever I state my beliefs as facts, because they are facts. But anyways, they get mad at me for it, and I don't really care. I don't really care that they're mad about it. But I really that's really, like, I don't really care what they say. That's the real reason, okay? That's the real reason. It's like so blatantly obvious if you look even an inch beneath the surface. It's either they're incredibly stupid, or they wanted to punish me because I said my beliefs were right. And because I went head to head with the admins, I called them on their bull. I called out that they didn't have a rule against not political talk, against religious talk. And so they're like, okay, we have to get him for something else. Let's go and let's say he discriminates. Let's provide absolutely zero proof that he discriminates, but let's still accuse him of it. And then whenever the ruling is finally consolidated, let's bring a quote up where I say I discriminate between beliefs. Then in that same quote, I also say that it's not against the SoulForge Discord rules, and only discrimination between people and groups is not allowed. Which makes perfect sense. That's literally like what discrimination at this point means. And so this isn't even an admission. I'm sure that anyone with brain cells knows this, but apparently DeSweeney doesn't have brain cells because he defended this ruling, which is very weird. But anyways, what I talked about. So anyways, yeah, the suffice to say, the whole discrimination punishment was so bogus and fake that it's it'd be funny, it'd be hilarious if it weren't that it was being done to me, and if it weren't for that it was being done to me because I did something that made the admins mad, and then, like, I broke no rules and I'm still getting punished. Huh? Well, actually, I did break some rules, and I'll get to that later. But I didn't break any of this, like any of these rules by what I said, and yet I'm still getting punished for it. Like, huh? You're gonna give me, oh yes, the admission. When I inquired about this, DeSweeney straight up said, I think if I go back, I have plenty of alt accounts, and if I use one of them and go back to the Soulforge public Discord server, I'm pretty sure DeSweeney straight up says that the admission of guilt was all the proof needed. Which the admission of guilt in question wasn't an admission of guilt. It was a statement that I discriminate between beliefs, which can we take a, like I already said here. I already gave you an analogy right here. But like, can we just take a moment to appreciate how stupid this is? Not only is this wrong, an admission isn't proof, but also the admission in question wasn't an admission of guilt. And on top of all this, the admission of guilt was literally a good thing. Like, discrimination between beliefs is a good thing that is needed for society. And they're trying to punish me for saying I do it. Basically, they're trying to punish me for saying the quiet part out loud because it's a buzzword. Because discrimination is a buzzword, and unlike them, I'm not scared of these buzzwords because they're a bunch of cowards. But anyways, whatever. It's slander. Saying to discriminate is slander, and it will be slander. So, yeah, Sweeney, thank you for discrediting yourself because now everything you say, I'm obviously still gonna try and analyze everything you say through a critical lens because even if you screwed up and said something really non-factual, you could still say something wise and important and worthwhile of thinking about. However, the public probably won't. So you just discredited yourself, buddy. Anyways, moving on from discrimination. I don't actually have a lot of screenshots, ironically, that relate to this. But here's another one. Here, Aspect accuses me of a lot of things. Firstly, he lies and says that Sweeney wasn't threatening me in this screenshot. However, if we look at the rules, there's no rule saying that I'm not allowed to talk religion. Hey, Sam, fact checker here. Actually, this is incorrect. As of the current screenshots I have, I regrettably was unable to get a screenshot of the rules before a new rule was added in that made this illegal. At the time and the date of this, however, there was no rule against preaching or excessive religious talk. If you want proof, you can go, I believe, to my video titled Evidence. I believe that has an old screenshot that actually has the old rules. But otherwise, I'm certain that I have it in one of the videos because I remember having it. But anyways, suffice to say that at the time, there was no rule against this. There is, however, now a rule against it. And a lot of my argument was simply that I didn't break any rules at the time, and that I should be dropped of all charges, and that a new rule should be put in place so that is against the rules. But anyways, moving on. Or at least there wasn't. There is now. It got added because of me. Which is sad. Well, actually, no, it's not. It should have been there. It's just sad I don't got a screenshot of it now. That would be more convenient. Anyways, therefore, he says he is not threatening you. Yes, he is. If he's saying he's going to give me points without me breaking a rule, that's threatening me. Like, mutes are one thing, okay? I'm willing to back down on mutes because There's not really any rules that talk about mutes, but there's plenty of established things on points, very specific criterias to be met, and you guys are just ignoring those criterias and giving me whatever you want. You're just giving me like points for saying things. You're giving me points for supposed discrimination that I never did. And then provide the most bogus evidence you could possibly find. Like, you guys are doing a great job role playing as the government. You're almost as corrupt as the government. Good job. In like a month, you'll be well on your way to being even more corrupt than the government. I'm just kidding. I don't know if that's possible. But anyways, then Aspect Train goes on to talk about how uncomfortable I'm making people and such. And I mean, he didn't. There's only one person that has ever said they were made uncomfortable by this, and the guy. I don't even believe the guy wasn't even in the server. Like, no offense, man, but I was talking about people inside of Soulforge, not like fans and such. Sorry though. But other than that, no one else has said they've been made uncomfortable by me talking about my beliefs. On top of that, Aspectron makes an additional mistake when he suggests, or he rather states, that I'm attacking other beliefs. He provides no evidence for his claims. Supposedly, me proclaiming my beliefs as correct means I'm attacking other people. People, by the way, for their beliefs because I say I'm right about my beliefs. I mean, firstly, I'm not attacking their belief. Secondly, I'm not attacking them at all. I'm just asserting my own belief. So this is slander. I never attacked anybody for their beliefs. I mean, if you can show me screenshots of me doing that, then whatever. But like, I don't believe I've ever done this ever. So in one comment, he's already slandered me twice. Keep in mind, this guy spam commented to the point that I had to mute him, hide him from the channel, which sadly got rid of all his comments, so I didn't get to screenshot a lot of them. Anyways, and then he goes on to say some pretty reasonable stuff like religion shouldn't be in a Minecraft server, keep this out of Soulforge, blah blah blah. Generic stuff that I actually agree with. However, he did slander me twice in that screenshot. And then in the next screenshot, he again says that I'm making people uncomfortable. Firstly, there's no rule against making people uncomfortable, and secondly, I mean, here's the thing with I don't I don't really care. If it's allowed, then like whatever, who cares if people are uncomfortable? I don't care if you're comfortable with that. I don't care if my beliefs make you uncomfortable or whatever. Comfort is not my objective or my goal in life. I don't care. Like, if you initiated the debate, if you opened the can of worms, I don't care how uncomfortable you are about the rest that spills out. Like, I don't even, I rarely talk about my beliefs at all, except whenever someone directly attacks my beliefs. So if you attack my belief, and I, and I like provide evidence, like I'm sorry, did me providing evidence make people in Soulforge uncomfortable? Aw, that's so sad. I don't give a frick. Okay, this means the guy who said facts yet zero evidence. He asked for it, okay? I mean, yeah, I could have just been the bigger man, but that's not fun. That's not fun. That's no fun. And on top of that, at that moment, the rule that there was no religious talk still wasn't in place, so it was technically still allowed. So there was no reason for me not to counterattack and assert my evidence over his claim. But anyways, whatever. Like, I'm supposedly making people uncomfortable by attacking them for their beliefs. Which, you know what? The good news is that means I'm not making anyone uncomfortable because I'm not attacking anybody. Therefore, I'm not attacking anybody for their beliefs. Therefore, no one's uncomfortable. So, yay, we all win, even though I don't care about people being uncomfortable. Like, I do care to some degree, but like, at the end of the day, it's not my first priority. You know what I'm saying? The truth comes before the comfortability. I put truth and truth. I put truth above comfort. And so if someone attacks me first and I say the truth and they're uncomfortable because I said the truth and I provided evidence, if I provided evidence, facts, and they opened the can of worms, I've got nothing to apologize for. It's their own fault as far as I'm concerned. So if I made someone else uncomfortable by accidentally posting to SoulForge and posting an advertisement that got taken down and that people didn't have to click, and then I accidentally make people uncomfortable on SoulForge because I defend myself and I provide evidence for my own beliefs and I assert my own beliefs and like I understand how it could make people uncomfortable, but no one said they were uncomfortable. So there's literally no evidence anyone in the Discord server was uncomfortable because I did this. I I just think that a Spectran is reacting like, okay, someone has to be uncomfortable. Sam dares to assert Christianity as the truth. Unacceptable. Like, we'll assert atheism. We can go, like, Death Note can go call all religions with one God a cult. He can go call Islam a cult. He can go call Christianity a cult. He can go call other religions a cult. And because he provides evidence, because he goes to Google, by the way, and provides a AI summarization from Google AI. We're all gonna side with the guy who goes to Google, not the guy who studied his stuff for years and years. Okay, well that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. Let's go side with the guy who provides like 20 times less evidence and doesn't know what he's talking about. He has to pull up definitions on Google because he thinks he's a scholar or whatever. Very, very interesting. There's no hypocrisy in SoulForge. What are you talking about? I really think that it is the devil. Just straight up, like, I really think it's the devil. Like, specifically making them prejudiced towards Christianity. Because they're apparently fine whenever someone else insults Christianity, but they're not fine whenever I assert Christianity. But whatever. But anyways, also, I would like to point out that if you are an atheist, which I believe Spectrum is an atheist. I'm pretty sure, like, I mean, he acts like an atheist at least. Um, Technically, you aren't in a position to tell me what's right or wrong morally at all. Because if atheism is correct, there is no such thing as right and wrong. Like, who's to say that your definition of morality is greater than mine? Hmm? Like, I mean, you really can't say that you're right and I'm wrong because there is no such thing as right and wrong from your perspective. Therefore, there is no such thing as right or wrong from your perspective. So morality doesn't even matter. Therefore, this whole argument is completely worthless from your perspective. Therefore, I think you should just shut up and stop bothering me and quit slandering me. But anyways, since I unmuted you, I'm sure you're going to slander me in the comments because last time I predicted it, I was like, yeah, guys, S Spectrum's going to leave like 10 comments. All of them are going to be lies. They're all going to be timestamps. They're all going to be super short. And it's like all going to be stuff like you didn't provide evidence. And then like I'm going to have provided evidence. And it's going to be crazy. And like it happened. It happened. S Spectrum is so predictable by this point. He's probably going to do the exact same thing, and I'm probably going to have to mute him yet again. But this time, I think I'll just save myself the trouble and just meticulously remove the unhelpful slander from my comment section, which is going to take like an hour because of how many comments he's going to leave, probably. But as Spectrum, please do keep your slander to a handful of comments and just reply to those comments because that makes it so much easier to respond and organize your slander into specific groups and such. Makes it a lot easier on me. And it also looks a lot cleaner. Anyways, that's all I've got to say. Oh, wait, no, that isn't. Actually, no, it's not. So, there are things I have done wrong, by the way. So, there are two rules that I have broken, and they know I've broken. And one of these was I used the seed. Now, I didn't even know this was against the rules. It was like a massive miscommunication, and I thought it was okay. But I used the seed. I made like this. I was working on building this thing. I didn't like actually use it for anything though, which is why like I said I had the seed and then I was like I didn't use it because I didn't use it for any advantages in game. I was just building. So I wanted to create these replay shots that I couldn't get on the server because I don't have creative mode, you know? But anyways, of course, someone had to be a piece of crap and report me for it. And then I didn't even know about any of it. But whatever, I broke the rule, 60 points to my head. That allowed them to ban me because 40 points from discrimination plus 60 equals 100, therefore I can get punished. But also, the discrimination points were literally a lie and slander. So their ruling was half based on slander. So here's how they could have actually banned me and not have slandered me. I said a slur, which is bannable. I said this in my own video, and I called myself the slur. I called myself a retard. I didn't even know it was a slur. I just thought it was a relatively offensive word. Didn't know it was considered a slur because I don't study slurs. And when I heard it was a slur, I stopped saying it. But regardless, I still said it. Therefore, you could technically ban me, even though it would still be kind of really really crappy of you. And I would still consider you to be a piece of crap for it. But regardless, you could have still done it. Like you wouldn't have been slandering me. You would have technically been correct, even if I did change and all that stuff. But whatever. That's all for now. You could have just given me not discrimination. You could have just given me a slur and then a charge of using the seed. You could have just given me the slur charge, and I would have still gotten banned. But anyways, hope you enjoyed that session of how these people have slandered me plenty, and how they could have just literally used the thing right in front of their own eyes to ban me. But instead, they banned me on charges of discrimination, which are false charges. I proved that wrong. it is a lie. It is slander. So they banned me based on a slander, and then based on the seed, and then based on me slandering them, which I did not do. So that's slander as well. I did not slander SoulForge. All these criticisms I said have been correct. I provided evidence over and over. They've ignored it. They've chosen to ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. They pretended I haven't provided evidence because they're a bunch of liars. At least Sweeney and Spectron are. And apparently everyone else is willing to bend over backwards to these liars because they have no spine and are weak. So suffice to say, I think the council is pathetic. It's got to be one of the worst governing bodies I've ever seen. And screw the SoulForge Council, okay? Screw them. No one on the council except Colton even half defended me. Colton was head mod. If anyone could have defended me, he could have defended me. Even when I provided evidence, he didn't do it. In fact, he backed up the slander charges, which, if Colton had paid attention to my videos, he would know full well I have not been slandering SoulForge. And there's no evidence for this. There was no evidence provided for the slander charge. There was no evidence. There was no evidence for the slander or slur charges. But there was evidence right there for the seed and the slur charge. So, you could have just provided evidence. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Instead of punishing me for the charges, the rules I broke, you punish me for rules I didn't break. I don't know, it's weird. Anyways, screw the council yet again, and, bye.